That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.
Can't even see Seth.
What's going on, folks? Welcome to the OneCast. Sorry, we're a little delayed tonight. We were sitting out talking fishing and all sorts of other stuff here. So
that's right.
We lost track of time, but welcome back to the OneCast Fishing Friday. Glad to have everyone on here. We're actually joined in studio by NPFL professional angler Seth Ellis.
He's like, "What's up, guys?
What's up, guys?" Yeah. What's up? Friday, totally unprepared this week. We've
I think we spent our rounds out there.
Yeah, let's just talk about OneCast Fishing. Head to OneCastFishing.com. Use the code TheOneCast. Get you some snagless jigs, long neck hooks, weedless Neds, soft plastics. One of those is a very special one.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll tell you what it is. Maybe not.
Yeah,
Seth's shaking his head. No, we're definitely gonna tell you what it is. So yeah, head to OneCastFishing.com. Code TheOneCast, all one word, or use some of the baits that we're going to talk about. From there, you can head over to CarolinaWatersNC.com. Use the code TheOneCast, all one word. Save yourself some money. Get you that swag. Get you the UPF shirts, t-shirts, hats, all of that good stuff. Gloves, buffs. Keep yourself protected while you're out there on the water. It doesn't stop just because it's fall. Those UV rays are still there. From there, you can use the link in the description. I'll post our link tree. It's in there. Click on that Hobie Eyewear link. Save 20% off. Grab you some Hobie Eyewear. Best polarized glasses on the market. Last but not least, our newest partner, Deep Dive. Go into your app store on whatever you use, whatever phone, Android, Apple.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I guess that's the only two around anymore. Your BlackBerry, if you still go. No,
Cricket.
That's a carrier, not a phone. Maybe there's a Cricket phone. But you head into your app store, download the Deep Dive app. Use the 7-day free trial and then pay for it because you're going to fall in love with it.
I want to highlight a couple things right now about the Deep Dive app. So we're getting a lot of rain here in North Carolina, but as the fish start to move shallow, and a lot of the shad will move too, and they're moving to the backs of creeks. And a lot of times you want to find those pockets that have more runoff into them because more nutrients, more food's going down. So the Deep Dive app's actually for a lot of your lakes, it's going to show all the discharges and it's going to highlight which ones usually have more water coming in and out of it. So it's a good way to maybe potentially find a pattern, test it out. And then also they introduced a bait library. So now you can go into your settings and there's a list of probably like 50 baits. Jig, Texas rig creature bait, shaky head, top, whopper plopper, popper, pretty much any style of bait. You can go in that library and it will tell you line to use, gear ratio. It has a little video of your retrieve. So if you're new to fishing or you want to expand some of your horizons and the baits you want to use, it's a good application to be able to see how to use that actually on the water.
Well, especially since we got all the rain here in North Carolina. I know, we all know that Florida got dumped. This is hurricane season and stuff like that. So the other feature that we always talk about is like the water clarity feature, which has played a huge role for us this year, which, like we were looking for that mildly stained water to where we can throw a spinnerbait and stuff like that. So check the app out. I promise you guys will be pleasantly surprised. It'll help you out with all the starting points that you guys consistently ask your buddy for, like, hey, where should I start in the lake? Well, Deep Dive's going to have you covered. So
Yeah. Seth Ellis in the house.
Seth Ellis.
Yeah.
What's going on,
blue
Seth?
shirt, according to Mike Johnson.
Seth,
It's gray, Mike. It's gray, not blue.
I will give Mike. It does look blue if you look at the camera, but it is gray.
It does, yeah. No,
Mike Johns is on. What's up?
Frank Duffy.
What's up,
in
Frank?
his house.
I don't know who else is on YouTube and stuff like that.
So Seth's getting ready to go down this weekend to head down to do a little pre-practice for I guess the tournament's next week, isn't it?
It's official practice starts Sunday morning. Yeah.
So talk about real quick before we jump into anything. And if you guys got questions about anything going on right now, I know the fishing world is kind of slowed down. Everyone's hitting the woods.
What's up, Dylan?
And trying to do some deer hunting and stuff like that. But yeah, Seth, I mean, like, what is your take on the current situation with the water down at the St. Johns River right now?
I don't know. I mean, The water's high.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can't get information. So
Sure.
from what public information that we can receive or find, I guess, on our own, it's high, and there's a lot of things in play, right? So there's idle zones, there's manatee zones, and then I guess there are some things regulated by the FWC, which is Florida Wildlife Commission, that are put in place once the water reaches a certain flood stage, I guess, that we can or cannot go certain speeds.
Yep.
So until I get down there, everything's just kind of a moot point to me. I don't feel one way or the other about it. And even then, when I get down there, I don't feel one way or the other about it. My job is to catch fish, not worry about how fast I can go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing for me. I know some guys that might want to make a long run might be affected by it, but for me, I just want to get down there. I want to see water conditions, clarity, and then go from there. Yeah,
to kind of put into context what Seth is talking about, there's like a gnat or something flying around me. State laws, federal laws, things like that, local laws and regulations, they all apply to these anglers when they go down and fish these major national events, right? And so it's a lot of information to digest. And we talked about like hurricane season, cyclones coming through, tropical storms, all those things like that is really going to play a factor in these guys. I mean, somebody's going to go out and win $100,000, but tournament organizations have to be very prepared for inclement weather conditions like we're seeing right now in Florida, in the St. Johns River and stuff like that. So, please don't post any information on here.
Yeah. Can't get any information
about the St. Johns River, but I will say that like it's a very dynamic situation. The MPFL in itself as an organization is closely monitoring the weather conditions, and so yeah, man, we're really excited to see what happens over the. I guess it's next weekend, right? Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I guess the last of the week, and then championship Saturday and stuff like that. So interesting time of the year to be fishing. To be fishing Florida. Here in the Carolinas, depending on where you're at, man, it's pretty tough, dude. And I do got to give a big shout out to Seth. He finished second in the ABA, which is the American Bass Anglers Association, right?
Yep.
American Bass Anglers. I'm sorry.
Yep. ABA Pro League.
Yep.
Which it took the place of the old Ram Opens.
Yep.
Right. So it's a higher entry fee, but you're fishing for higher prize money, and there's no co-anglers, right? Yep. So it's just, that's their version of the BFL, I guess, so to speak.
Sure.
But yeah, I did finish well in that this weekend. I wasn't able to close the deal out, but very fortunate to finish second, given the time of year, state of the fishing. Most people in the South realize that September, October are really tough. Actually, August, September, October can be really tough. I mean, I know some guys that don't even get their boats out this time of the year.
Right.
Exactly. It's just, it can be brutal. So I was very fortunate to find some fish doing what I like to do, and that's flipping shallow water cover with a OneCast Fishing Nighthawk. Probably my new favorite bait.
Yeah.
Just because that thing right there, I'm telling you.
Secret.
Yeah, it catches them.
Ooh. He's giving you the juice.
I am, especially in hematoma. So if you guys want to order some, don't, because I need all I can get. But yeah, had a good time this weekend.
There's 3 other colors that you can order from.
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
don't order the green pumpkin either. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was a good time. And this time of year, I was actually talking to somebody the other day about it. In the South, there's 2 schools of thought. And what I mean by that is in the August, September, and October, you can choose to chase bait and largemouth that are bait eaters, and then you can choose to fish for resident fish.
Yep.
And here's the situation with the 2. If you choose to chase bait, you are subjecting yourself to hero or zero mentality.
Yeah.
Because you can find those fish and practice for them Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and you get a different wind shift or whatever the case may be, and that bait leaves, so do the bass. Mm-hmm. But if you find fish that are resident fish that live in an area, whether it be on laydowns, boat docks, bushes, small offshore rock piles, or whatever it may be, but they're resident fish in that area, they're not going anywhere. They haven't been there all year, but they haven't been touched because everybody else is live scoping and chasing offshore fish. Well, those fish just go unmolested for probably 3 to 4 months out of the year, right?
Yeah.
Well, then you can start to target those fish, when that fall transition happens. They haven't completely moved to the bait. They're eating crawfish and bluegill, which are a good source of nutrients for those type of fish. And you can really hone in a pattern on those style of fish, right?
Yep.
So whether it's a jig or a spinnerbait,
Nighthawk.
Yeah, the nighthawk, exactly. Try to keep that quiet.
Yeah.
Or it could be a topwater style presentation, whether it's horny toad on a buzzbait type of situation where those fish are keen on bluegill. But those are the type of things that I like to look for this time of year, and that's what I did.
Yeah, absolutely. And just full disclosure, like Seth was totally not prepared to come on Facebook Friday Live or Fishing Friday Live.
No, we pretty much forced.
Yeah, we basically forced him, through cold beverages and good conversation and stuff like that. So we definitely appreciate that, breaking that down. Give it a huge shout out to Bryson Pede, man.
Absolutely.
Like, he won Bugs Island. It was a 2-day tournament. Seth, and he also won Angler of the Year.
Bryson did. Yeah, no, he killed it, man. Bryson, look, I got to give Bryson credit.
Here we go.
Bryson's a younger guy, but he hasn't been fishing very long, maybe 6 or 7 years competitively.
Yep.
And he's done really well. He's put his time in. He doesn't worry about all the other stuff that goes on outside of it. He just goes fishing.
Yep.
And I can tell you through numerous text messages and phone calls, he'll call me on a Saturday morning when there's nothing going on in the middle of July. What are you doing? I'm out here graphing.
Yep.
Good for him, because that's what ultimately I feel like propelled him to his win this weekend. Him putting in his time and just saying, you know what, I know this lake, I know what to do, and he won. So shout out to Bryson. For sure.
Absolutely. He's an absolute hammer. We've fished against him a couple times, and he always seems to beat our breaks in. You know what I mean? So
you ain't the only one.
Al Abshire said, always enjoyed fishing with Seth Ellis. He's the man. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate it.
Hal is, for those of you who don't know, local legend around the area, and one of the founders of Warriors on the Water. We had him on the show last year, and if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that episode, because it was absolutely phenomenal how he broke down Warriors on the Water. He was around for, when Sharon Harris and Jordan Lake and stuff like that were filled in, I guess you would say, right? We got the OG map of Karen Harris as she is right now. But yeah, Hal, appreciate that, man. Thank you for jumping on this Friday Live. So what else is what happened? Oh yeah.
Just turned it
So we have another TV up here for everyone, and sometimes it just randomly turns on.
I don't know what it turned on to either.
I don't know what you call that. Something. Is there a ghost in here? Is there a ghost in the machine? I don't know.
I want to go back to something Seth was talking about, that was chasing those bait fish in the South, especially in North Carolina. I feel like the hero to zero, 99% of the time, you're going to zero doing that, because there is just an incredible amount of bait in these lakes that we have. And unless you can find small pockets, you're really going to struggle to get those fish to eat.
Yeah.
If you pull up, what I've learned in 6 or so years fishing down here is, if you pull up into a creek arm and you can, for lack of a better term, walk across the bait, you might as well just turn around and leave.
I agree.
Because those fish are so keyed in on small bait, and there is so much of it. It doesn't matter if you're throwing an A-rig. It doesn't matter if you're throwing a jerk bait. It's really hard to pull those fish off of the real thing with a fake thing. So I'm a lot like Seth this time of year. I like to take a square bill and go start grinding stretches of trees or rocks or those and find those resident fish that are eating the crayfish, eating the bluegill, eating those isolated shad schools that aren't in those giant mega schools of shad that we see this time of year.
Do you like plopper whoppers?
I don't throw them a whole lot. No, I mean, this time of year, poppars and a walking bait are pretty much my go-to. I've really got me started on the popper, and that's
I didn't do it.
Yeah, you did 100%. That's
but
like
the popper back.
You didn't used to know. You didn't used to throw it.
He didn't, but then he had a really good derby on
until I told you to throw it at that lily
pad.
Yeah,
I would say like Ben.
There's a 5-pounder there.
And then he went through it and had a really good tournament.
Was that at your lake?
Yeah, it was on like 5 rusty hook points, bro.
And then he had a really good tournament at Falls, and I was like, well, I guess I got to try this bait, because there were some older guys in our club that always did really well.
Well, my best tournament.
And I started throwing it, and I was like, all right, there's something to this bait. And now I always have one tied on.
Yeah. The popper, most regular poppers mimic that small yearling baitfish size. Yeah. It has nothing to do with the movement of the bait. It's the profile. Yeah. It's that 2.5 to 3.25 inch. And most of these fish this time of year start to key on that. And I think that's why the popper are so successful.
My best tournament ever, probably one of my best tournaments ever, is in October at Lake McIntosh.
Yeah.
On KVD Splash.
Yep.
I know almost 23 pounds, and second had
It's
like
really
14.
hard to
You know,
find
I
that
mean,
bait too.
It is, especially
Terribly hard
especially
to
in the colors.
So if you guys have chrome KBD splashes, like send them
Bone,
my way.
bone.
Or bone. Both of them.
this
are
time of
good.
year, I want chrome, but that's mostly because we're fishing like Norman,
Yeah.
and they really like a chrome one on Norman.
Nick-
Really like a chrome
Nick
on
Kincaid, Nick
Like
Kincaid put
chrome
Seth on
bone,
blast
too.
here. He said, "Are you fishing the sober tournament, Seth?"
So Nick, actually, it's funny you say that. I actually spoke to a good buddy of mine that actually lives on Norman,
Oh,
and I believe I'm penciled in for the Soba tournament. Whether it's my boat
What
or
up,
his, I believe I'm going to be there. So I'm looking forward to it. It's the first time for me being there. So whatever I can do to help that experience for those guys to be out there, I'm looking forward to it.
absolutely. Frank Duffy said, "Pop R for the win." We agree with you. It's a great bait this time of year. It's a great bait all times of year, especially post spawn, man. Like that thing is pre-spawn and post-spawn. I think it's great all times of the year.
It's great in the middle of
What, a
summer
pop
too.
bar?
Yeah.
I pretty much.
I mean,
throw
I-
it year round.
I have the same one tied on that I've had all year long, minus new treble hooks, and that thing is absolutely beat to death. I can't find any more of the new ones.
You know the one you picked up that you caught?
Yeah.
That has probably been tied on for like 2 years.
Yeah, I can tell. I love it.
I know.
No, Ben doesn't retie or
Josh Watkins, MPFL Pro, U.S. Army Outdoors team, man. He said, "What's up? What's up, Josh, man?
Man, everybody
Hope
be cool. He's a cut.
you- hey,
You smell that?
Everybody be cool. Everybody be cool. Act natural.
act natural."
What's up, Josh? Hope you're doing well.
Josh, we have not been drinking much.
Small buzz bait off smashing right now. Yeah, I mean, fall. I think everybody can attest that downsizing works, but
Mhm.
it's not the only.
So I'm going to let a little cat out of the bag here, and some guys may or may not cuss me for this.
I
when
love
get off of
cats.
this.
I'm gonna cuss you because I know where you're going.
But a lot of times, walking baits, pop R's, small buzz baits. But when you get these fall days where there's just no wind, high skies, a horny toad can be an absolute
and now
Yeah.
I'm gonna cuss you.
killer.
And bubble gum.
Whatever.
It doesn't
I mean,
matter.
I'd throw black or green pumpkin
Yeah.
or white, but that subtle movement on the surface, man, can elicit some of the biggest strikes.
Sure.
And it took me a long time to figure that out. Actually, it took me a lot of butt whoopings to figure that out because I was stubborn to throw a buzz bait
That's what
a
I'm
lot
saying,
of the time
Rusty.
in the fall.
You gotta keep that horny toad.
You've never had your butt whoops.
Dylan Higgins said, I fished with a guy a few years ago who whacked them in the dirt on a pop R in February at Falls. I thought he was crazy, but he was straight catching them.
Well, that was kind of like what Wheeler at Harris.
Rusty.
Somebody
that was the mark.
stop.
Sorry,
You're
Rusty. I'm done. I'll just sit back and listen.
No,
to
keep
that.
going, Seth.
So first of all, let me say huge shout out to Rusty, man. Rusty, Rusty. First of all, are you still fishing with Sandhills? If you are, that's awesome, man. Do you know Rusty?
I probably know what kind of boat is he?
Well, he was running a Ranger.
He's still running a Ranger. What did it look
Aluminum
like?
boat.
Aluminum Ranger.
Yeah.
All right.
So Rusty,
I know Rusty.
Rusty came into Sandhills Bassmasters and absolutely has dominated. Rusty, you're the reason I left because I was scared. No, I'm just kidding, man. Like, appreciate you jumping on, dude. Dylan, hey, man, thanks for jumping on as well. But yeah, dude, I mean, like, Cat is, he's running a Vexus now.
Oh, he's running a 2080. What
Yeah.
color?
That's what you have, Nippy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a 1980, but
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, he has like
What color is your
he has the
2080, Rusty?
non-Hollywood version, non-movie version.
Oh,
Who, me?
Yeah, it's almost like a cartoon character boat. Or whatever.
Black? Yeah. I know who Rusty is.
Yeah, Rusty's been dominating, man. So I don't think Seth let the cat out of the bag, though.
there's a lot of guys that don't throw a horny toad
No.
by themselves.
Really?
Yeah,
Nope.
no.
What is?
And I
I've
wouldn't,
never
if you don't
thrown
throw it,
one.
I would definitely never pick it up.
Yeah, it's the
Terrible bait.
worst bait to ever throw.
Are you saying-
slick blue blur day?
Hey, you guys.
But I
all-
mean, hey, isn't the motto is anglers helping anglers?
It is. That we're just joking.
I get
So-
it.
Anglers helping Anglers
Yeah.
OneCast.
You want to know an interesting thing? And I tried it and it didn't work for me. I probably have to experiment more.
a man bun?
No, I've
Oh,
never
okay.
grown my hair out. I should do that. Liz show back up here. I got a man bun, but so you know those long neck hooks. I
Yeah,
have.
absolutely.
Well, a guy would
No, Mike Nadu hates a horny toad.
he would put like a little popper, a float on the front of it,
And then the hook
and then
back.
a horny toad, Texas rigged, right?
Yeah.
And he said he could just leave it in the pads forever in the strike zone, just barely twitch it.
I'm not joking.
See, that's some sneaky stuff right
Dude,
there.
I'm telling you, like that deal, that float he sent to you as a promo or whatever, like that thing was pretty sick.
So like I tried to experiment with it, and like You probably need to experiment with different sizes and different brands of horny toads or whichever style you want to do because the way you want to balance and thread it on. Because I have a tendency the hook a lot of times would flip upside down.
Yeah.
Which actually, when I think about catching a fish, it probably wouldn't matter that much.
Yep.
Yeah, it will. And I'll say that because if the tongue hooks them, they're dead.
Oh yeah.
I'm just going to go on and tell you.
That's okay though. Take them home.
You see what I'm saying? As a tournament angler, that's the only thing I'm looking at.
That is true. Yeah.
There are some baits that are just bad about tongue hooking a fish. And when you hook a fish in the tongue, it doesn't matter if it's February or August, they're dying. I mean, I don't understand it, but they just die.
Yeah, I think it's just because they're soft and they have weak genes. So,
It's very vascular.
Yeah.
It's veiny.
Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know.
You disgust
You
me.
never know. So he said, I like the Trixie shark instead of the horny toad. Yeah, well.
And it's a similar. Yeah, it's similar. But like
Mike's always got to do the opposite. So, no, I'm just kidding, Mike.
I mean, it almost is like, and people from the Carolinas may or may not know this, but the front runner, right?
Yeah.
It was born here.
Oh,
it's almost like a reverse front runner type of situation
Mm-hmm.
where you have the main bait, but you have that small little enticing nugget behind it that's going to ultimately catch the fish.
Is the front runner legal in the MPFL?
Oh, that's a good question.
I would think no because it has
Brad,
multiple
hooks. Yeah.
Brad, listen to me right now. Yeah. Make the front runner legal if it's not, okay?
Because it's Bill Lewis brought it back out, right?
Yeah, there is a hook.
Well, you can put a hook on it, but you can also not put a hook on it.
Yeah, there's a hook on it.
Yeah. But you can.
Bill Lewis brought the front runner back this year. Yeah.
Do you know the first time I ever saw a front runner?
No.
On Bugs Island.
Yeah.
And I saw somebody working a front runner in front of a popper on a dock.
Sure.
As I was standing on it and I watched him whack like 5 fish. It was unbelievable. I was like, that's crazy. I don't even own one. I didn't even know what it was.
It was something, growing up in Ohio that I've never heard of. But what gets me is the multiple knots, right? That's what's in play.
I just hate all those failure points.
That's a weak point. And when you have multiple weak points, I just don't like it.
Well, stop throwing.
There's got to be a way to make a line through.
Stop. No matter how good your knots are, your knots always.
Seth flips with 6-pound mono.
Yeah.
No, that's Terry Baker frog fishes with 4-pound mono, right, Nick?
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's a really cool concept. But you're right. Anytime there's a line, like you're connecting anything, there's always going to be a weak point in your line and stuff like that. But you throw Carolina Ray, don't you?
I've started to throw it a lot more. I think we talked about it earlier this year.
Why? Because the draggers got you, huh?
It's just one of those things, man.
You can't beat it.
You get exactly. It's almost like a shaky head when it's tough to get a bite. You can pull out that. The old 2-splash rig.
I'm telling you,
it's
the old ball and chain.
I've always got one rigged up now.
Do you throw a free rig?
No, you and I talked about that. That's something I can't get behind.
I know we talked about it. We're talking about it now.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me, right? Because I'm a flipper, right? I'm a Texas rig jig type of
What's up,
guy.
Brad?
And I've always pegged my weights. Hey, I'm still waiting on my hat. Right? Actually, several hats, but hey, I hope you're enjoying yourself.
Did you guys see that bus drive by? Seth said, "Brad, bus."
But yeah, so the free rig to me, I can't get behind it because I'm the type of person I want to be in constant contact with my bait.
Yeah.
So as obviously I understand the concept. So as you throw the bait out and it falls, the weight sinks first, the bait pendulums down. But and I get it, it's a finesse technique on a super light bite. It's just hard for me to get behind.
You shouldn't though. You should get in front of it.
Well, I'll tell you what. You throw a free rig and I'll throw a Nighthawk and we'll see who wins.
Well, you know what? The Nighthawk's going to win because you got to go to OneCastFishing.com and use the code TheOneCast and you're going to save some money on that stuff.
I would take that. I would take that bet and I would put my money on Trey, but it has to be at Harris.
Okay, Harris win. I haven't been Harris in about 7 years.
Yeah, right now then.
I haven't been to Harris in like 7 days.
Come on, man. I'm not going to give it to you during the spawn. That would be, I might as well shoot myself.
Do you always peg your weights?
100% of the time.
No scenario where you want to.
No.
See, and I'm
not even fishing like hydrilla or like grass like that where you're kind of dragging it.
Nope.
The only time I peg my weights is if I'm bed fishing, basically.
Really? And I know there's a big debate with that, right? I get guys,
I think it's just what you're confident in.
correct.
Right? Like,
and I am a person that I'm a firm believer of constant contact. I don't like a weight, especially the heavier you flip, just free swinging. It gives too much leverage. And that's just my personal opinion. It could be right, wrong, or indifferent.
no,
There's no such thing as right and wrong in fishing.
I'm just
It's
saying.
I like bed fishing is the time. Like a lot of times I don't peg mine
Yeah.
because I want to pitch it out there and I want to be able to slowly drag the
yes, sir. They did.
plastic back and then bang it up against that weight.
Yeah, the slot limit is gone on hairs. Yep. See, and I peg I like to peg it because I want it
Pegging
to
and
stay.
banging. You guys are just keep it PG.
Is that why you're giggling over there? I was like, what's so funny?
Drink too many.
So I like to run.
throttles.
If I'm bed fishing, I'll run my weight, peg, a bead, hook, and then the bait, or I'll run the bead between the peg and the weight, and that's where I'll get that clacking noise.
So in a clear water situation where you can see them, what do you need the bead for?
It's just a noise. I feel like that glass bead just makes a little bit of a noise, and it's just another irritant. That's just me.
No,
I
I
could
just
be
I want to
completely wrong.
understand like where you're coming from, because I look at it as okay, they're guarding literally a quarter size spot in that
Right.
bed to where so noise or anything else doesn't change that.
like that
No.
big.
Yeah.
I think it's a confidence thing.
Fair enough, and
Like
that's why I wanted to understand it.
I've whacked them
Yeah.
doing it, and it's just something that I've done since. There's times I don't. It's not like I always do.
Okay, okay, yeah.
But
And every fish
it's
is
actually
different.
somewhere like on Lake James is where I started doing it, and it seemed to make a difference. Like if
Okay.
I didn't have that bead, I had a harder time getting them to eat than if I had it.
I got you.
Now, like this year with you, I didn't use a bead at all.
No.
Like when we were bed fishing.
No, but he also
Like-
didn't solely use the D-bomb either.
Yeah.
Real quick
That's
for
a
the
lie.
crowd. That's not a lie. Real quick for the crowd, throw out some of your secret
Drop shot
techniques
on the bed fish.
that you
I've
guys
done that,
like
yep.
to throw. Drop shot. Rusty
So-
talked about drop shot.
I was gonna say with the
Yeah.
if
Little
I'm pitching on a
turd.
bed, Seth, sometimes I'll take an ounce and a half of weight.
Yeah.
So without pegged it, so it won't. Okay, I'm giving
Shut
it
up.
a It's okay.
The other thing, like
I know where you're going with this.
when I'm just flipping, like if I'm flipping laydowns and stuff, I
Right.
flip with a very lightweight. So that's another reason why I don't like
Depending
to
on-
peg it
You're talking about in this during the spawn or just in
pretty much
general?
all the
I
time.
got you.
Because
Really?
almost everybody flips a 3/8 or a half ounce or bigger, right? So I will go literally to an 1/8
And
ounce.
see, and that's where I think you're wrong.
or
And the reason
Oh,
why,
man.
and I don't mean
I
that
want
like
you take your shirts off right now.
no.
And
I'm
fight.
just saying. I feel like most people aren't comfortable fishing a big weight. And when I say big weight, it's half ounce up, half ounce,
Yeah.
5/8, 3/4. Most people are comfortable with a quarter, a 3/16, even a 3/8. But once you get to that half ounce, a lot of people just can't put it on the end of the rod and go like this all day long because they're not confident. They're not confident in raising the bait up and not understanding what a bite
Yeah.
feels
You know-
like. You see what I'm saying?
You know,
Yeah.
that's interesting because I've noticed, and it's kind of odd to me because personally, like standard, I want a half ounce.
Right.
If I'm going anywhere out of the box, getting on the water, like half ounce is my standard go to
Sure.
for jigs, for a lot of times Texas rigging. But 3/8 ounce, which is the smallest jig I make, outsells the half ounce and 3/4 combined.
It's a comfortable weight for people.
It
and
is.
so
I
which
wish-
actually surprised me because I like the half ounce. I want to drop a little bit faster most of the time.
Right.
I want to be able to feel it better.
So a lot of times when you like this time of year, when the bite can be very, very, very tough, I want speed. Speed
Yeah.
elicits reaction.
so there are times of the year where I do upsize. I'm not giving all the juice.
Well,
You're right. There are times, and Brad, that's exactly right.
Let-
Like there are times when I'll go to a half ounce because I'm trying to get the reaction bite. When they're eating, I will flip with an 1/8 ounce,
Yeah.
which is basically you don't even really need a weight.
It's
It's,
a
just
ba-
enough
it's a
to
baby.
get it going.
I'm telling you, the secret is a 3/4
Let me-
ounce.
let me-
Because when I look at people's boats, when I look at what people have tied on, 99% of the folks have a 3/8 or a half ounce weight.
Yeah. And it's,
So
a lot
I'll
of it comes
go
back
to-
being comfortable.
I'll go to that 1/4/8 in the spring,
Right.
because except for our bed fishing, because I want it to sit on the bed. That's a little
Sure.
different.
Yeah. Let me
And then this time of year, I'll transition back to that half 3/4 because you're right. You try to get that quick reaction bite as that bait falls in front of their face.
100%. And I feel like when that water temperature busts like 57, 58, from 58 to whatever it gets to in the summers here, sometimes the low 90s, I won't flip less than a 5/8
yeah.
Okay.
because a lot of it just becomes down to speed, right? And a lot of people just don't put two and two together,
Right.
Right. So sometimes speed will elicit reaction bites. I like speed in clear water. The only time, even in the summer when the water's really warm, if it's super muddy, I'll slow down because you have to keep a bait in the zone. It's hard for them to find it. They're using a lateral line, so it's not as, visual for the fish to feed on. But for me, I just don't think a lot of people will go that route. And I think Frank said he doesn't own anything over a half ounce.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me because think about it. You fish a lake, boat docks, laydowns, whatever it may be.
Boat docks?
Most of those things might be in with 3 to 6 foot of water.
Right.
Well, what you don't realize is that the largemouth vision is way better than ours, right? So even in a situation where you can see 2 foot down, that largemouth might be able to see 30 feet. Well, if your bait's not falling fast enough, he might see it and say, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Versus if it shoots to the bottom, it gains his attention.
Sure.
And then you start to work the bait. And then it might elicit the strike. That's just my personal opinion, right? Now, I could be, that's just how I'm comfortable with.
Let me give some anecdotes on where your opinion is valid. Let me go back to Frank real quick. He said,
validate your opinion.
He said,
That's what you were looking for.
hey,
I am.
I'm
That's why I
going to
came on.
need to about face and shut your mouth.
That's not-
Frank said, I can't see. What'd he say? Scroll up real quick.
He said he can't see the bedfish.
So, Frank,
I don't think the glasses make a difference.
It's definitely going to make a difference. Check out the Sight Masters, check out the copper and all the different lenses that Hobie has to offer. Frank, I can tell you that a good pair of glasses, whatever brand you choose, but we're going to promote Hobie because that's what we use. Whatever brand of glasses you use, like glasses actually do make a big difference in my opinion. I don't know about your guys's, but they do. Whether or not it's, like mitigating that glare or whatever the case may be. Right. Secondly, I will say that, Seth really walked me on target when it came to flipping a bigger weight, in flooded water conditions. And it was to trigger that reaction strike. I think Rusty talked about it or whoever, trigger that reaction strike, right? Like, especially when you know that you have high pressure conditions, the fish aren't really willing to eat that much, but you know that they're going to be an opportunist and they're going to go after that bait. Like, you want something that's going to just intrigue them instantly and go after it, right? And so I did it. I mean, I literally did it. I had 20-pound tests on, flipping a 3/8 ounce, and I switched over to a half ounce. I don't really flip a 3/4 or bigger, but I do have it. And I noticed a vast difference in my bites, right? Like, I wasn't getting any bites with a lighter weight. The moment I switched over, and Seth can attest to this, I was actually on the phone with him when I got bit.
Yep.
I switched over to a half ounce or bigger and flipped up there with a Nighthawk, not hematoma. It was green pumpkin. Okay. That was the color they were on for the day, but maybe, right? And I whacked them. I absolutely whacked them. And I had I'm going to say at least 60 pounds for my best 5. No, I'm just kidding.
You didn't even get 5 bites. What are you talking
You're
about?
absolutely right. I landed 3 fish. Full disclosure, I've never had over a 22-pound bag in my entire
Team or singular or both?
both.
I got you.
Never had.
That's
Never
because
had.
it's too
right?
busy out there with that jighead minnow.
I'm just saying, I am the Angler of the Year. Okay.
Shots fired.
You did say earlier you only put in like half a tournament.
You poked me right in the heart. That was a whole tournament work because he didn't catch,
I had to do
he
that
didn't catch
after
a single keeper fish in that tournament. Okay,
one tournament.
one tournament. Yeah.
But for real, the only reason we're going to Lake Murray is because of me. And
100%.
no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, dude, I learned a lot from you, and I think that is a very important point to the conversation. Is like, man, you can learn so much from every single person sitting at the table. Seriously,
You can.
absolutely.
You can learn just being in a boat with somebody else, right? So I spent some time earlier this year with Ben and on his local lake, and to watch him attack it was completely different than the way I would have.
Yeah.
Right. And it was full of grass. It's a beautiful place. I'm looking forward to going back this fall and doing some stuff there. But every time you get in a boat with somebody that you don't know personally, whether it's a family member or a good buddy, and how they fish, you can learn something.
Absolutely.
And I completely agree with doing that. Like, get in a boat with other people. Even if you don't catch a fish, the goal should be for you to learn something new each and every day.
Absolutely.
So the biggest story I have with that. So I don't know if you ever knew Mike Minkin.
Yeah, he was
But,
a local. He was
Mhm.
really good on Jordan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So he lived on my lake.
Okay.
And one day he came over and picked me up, and on his boat. So I'm fishing from the back of the boat, and I've been catching him on frogs and stuff. At this time, the grass was actually kind of matted out in places. There was more pads, and so I'd been, doing some frog fishing and stuff. He just took a popper, which I throw all the time, but he worked it different than I had ever worked it. He would walk it like a walking bait.
Sure.
And I used to always do the pop, pop, pause, pop, 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 pause, pop, the traditional routine. And he absolutely smoked me. I mean, he caught 18 pounds. I didn't catch a single fish.
No.
And so I went out the next morning and did the exact same thing and put about 8 in the boat. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I just learned something that
Yep.
that I can apply, because I was too afraid to throw the popper kind of around those pads and stuff, because I didn't want to get hung up all the time. And well, you showed me that was a stupid idea because that's how you catch them.
Now Frank
I mean-
Duffy's telling you to shut up, man.
What? Hey, Josh Watkins just texted me and he asked me if I was drunk.
Yes,
And
Josh.
The question, the answer is yes. No, I'm not drunk. But yeah, man, like I even learned something from Ben. Like I was out on his lake and it has giants on it, and he was like, throw a pop R right there. And I'm like, man, it's not a place I would ever throw a pop R. And I did with 5 rusty hooks and smashed a 5.5 pounder, dude.
when I went,
How many hooks? How big was that?
Yeah,
popper?
I was gonna
5
say,
hooks
was-
on it.
Well, 5 hook points.
6 points.
Oh.
His treble
Was one missing or was one not? Rusty?
Yeah, he doesn't know how to do math. No, I'm just kidding.
One was
Don't
probably
hit me.
missing. One was probably
Well,
broke
one
off.
like 5 hooks.
one
Would be
was a-
5. One
one-
treble hook is 1 hook.
One was
In
100%
my, that's how it's been
missing.
for me.
but it's 3 points.
Yeah.
He
So it
should have
should be
said 5 rusty hook points.
It should have been 6.
I'm sorry, I wasn't so
Standard.
technical.
I'm pretty sure one hook point was broke off.
Okay.
That's how that is par
Yeah.
for the course with Ben. There was definitely a broken,
But
hook
we
point.
caught it. So, kudos to Matt Robertson for leaving rusty
Chris?
hooks in this boat all the time. But you can totally do it with 5 hook points, man. So
I put
learned a lot from
I
him.
put hooks up with the intention to reuse them, and then they get rusty, and I just throw them in the trash.
That's true because they're all stuck underneath your hot foot, Mr. Don't clean
no,
the
that's
boat out.
mine.
The cleanest boat I've ever seen besides mine is
Seth
Seth's.
Ellis's.
100%.
I'm-
Actually, he rolled up today. We just had like 15 hurricanes roll through, and Seth has the cleanest truck I've ever seen. I was like,
Yeah.
why is his truck?
He was in shambles
so
because there was a box fan. In the
I think he
backseat.
legitimately like. I'm surprised he hasn't called me yet. Like, come clean my
I'm
truck.
leaving tomorrow. I'm half packed.
So that answers the question. Seth, are you leaving tomorrow?
Yes,
for
Brad
Florida?
said he's
Yes,
leaving
Brad.
tomorrow.
yes, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm half
He's
packed.
fishing Friday. I know.
Yeah, I'm half
He's half
packed.
packed.
I am disappointed how dirty.
But here's the
Actually,
thing, right? So,
you saw how clean mine is.
yeah, I did, and
30%.
it would give me anxiety
Yeah.
to have a truck
It
like
gives Trey
yours.
anxiety every time.
But
he
here's
gets
my
mine.
thing, right? So people, whether it's your house or your home or your work, whatever it may be, like when you get into your workspace where you spend most of your time, you want to know where everything's at. And I'm just super, for lack of a better word, anal about it.
I know where everything's
Yeah.
at in that truck.
Yeah. I have to
Well,
know
there's
where
nothing
everything's
in it.
at.
No, my truck. I mean,
Oh, your truck.
He doesn't
Yeah.
have a clue what's in that back passenger seat, I promise you.
Probably a dead body or something. I don't know.
we won't bet.
What do you got in the back of your truck?
Right now, I have an entire Starlink set up back there, so I know exactly what's in there.
I know, but I mean, I don't know.
There was a time I didn't know because I had like 97 tackle orders in there.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. Like I throw stuff in there, but I'm very, very,
I used to be. And then I
OCD
lived
I
about
didn't
it.
realize. I looked in the back of your truck today and those secret baits that you have in there. I didn't realize you throw a beetle spin so much.
Do you call him Brian Thrift?
Huh?
Brad said, "Okay, Brian Thrift."
Mike
talking
Johns.
about me being anal.
Mike Johns said, I found a battery in the back seat. Well, Mike Johns, here's the deal. You probably still have fireworks from the 4th of July in your truck that you don't know about.
Did we stash them?
No,
Oh,
I did.
Seth.
Yeah, I mean, like Mike Johns is.
Brian's anal about it.
Yeah, he's
Except
super-
for the cigarette.
Dude, he's
Oh, that's a
anal
joke I
about the
wanna
way
make.
he
Say it,
flips his
say it.
reels. Like it's
It's not PG 13.
Mm-mm.
What's not?
Mike Johns?
Did he text you?
No.
No, I'll send a
Oh,
signal.
Brad. So Brad.
How do you
Um,
find a battery? I'm just curious. How do you find a battery?
He's sponsored by the Lithium Battery Pros. If I'm
Oh,
not
Lithium
mistaken.
Pros. Yeah, okay.
Is it? Yeah, LBP. That's what's on his.
I
truck.
have no idea. I
Oh.
just didn't know like how you found a battery in the back of your
Oh,
truck. Like you
Apparently
didn't know you
had one
put
in
it
there.
there.
Didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
Surprise!
Hey,
I can find some.
there's $1,000 battery in my back seat.
Yeah.
Wish I could find some chrome KVD splash.
I know where you can find some of those.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
In your boat.
I've got a couple.
Possibly.
Oh, okay. I know exactly where your boat's at.
And the Rico ones.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a bunch of Rigos.
You want the big ones?
All right, we'll do it.
I might call somebody.
Mike John said his back seat is
That's
crowded
it.
with all kinds of junk. Yeah. There's probably like gummy bears and lithium batteries and like, soda pops and stuff.
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Hey, Brad, my stuff wouldn't be so clean if I got them hats.
Yeah, he can dirty up with them hats, Brad.
Just saying.
Dude, I need where's the shots fired thing?
Oh, I have
Here.
3 or 4 of them.
You do?
That's not enough.
Oh, I've got one
What?
hat.
No, I'm talking about the chrome.
Oh, no, you need
Flashes.
at least like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I don't have. See, Seth is like me. Trey, I think, gets anxiety because I order so much of everything. But
No, and you want to know where it
4
comes-
is none and 14 is.
You want to know where it stems
1.
from? And this is completely off topic, but I'm not like
There's
your
nothing off top.
average size human.
Yeah.
So when I find something that fits and I like it, like my shoes, I got to order like 3 pairs.
Where do you shop at?
Brad wants to know what time you're leaving in the morning. I think he's trying to get you your hats.
I'm leaving at like 5:30, Brad, and you're in the beach, so that's not going to work. He's fishing for sharks.
I know.
Is he really?
Yeah,
he
he's
sent me a
surf
picture.
fishing with a buddy of mine. Yep.
Are you keeping them and eating them, Brad?
I don't know if he's fishing for sharks, but I just know
Oh.
he's at the ocean fishing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's where we're
Brad,
heading
thanks for
tomorrow.
the invite. Jerk.
Oh, and you can let Jamie know that fell through.
It did.
Oh,
He had
Okay.
something come up. So
All right, 10-4.
410.
410.
4-10.
But next time we'll get him and Jamie hooked up.
No, that's fine. Absolutely. It
That
gives
would
me a
be
chance to let him
good.
know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
So yeah, he's leaving at 5:30 in the morning, Brad. So you can just bring those hats by my house, and I'll make sure he doesn't get them next time I see him.
Go figure.
No,
They'll get lost in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
my backseat of my truck is mostly clean now.
Yeah,
I have a
mostly.
house. Well, I still got the star. I got to figure out
Looks
what
like
I'm
an
going to do with this
episode of
Starlink
Hoarders,
thing.
dude.
He's still got his 4-wheeler and kayak.
Was yours
trailer
the
here.
mobile one?
It's
the
sitting right
RV
out
one?
there.
Yeah,
Is that his?
which
Yeah.
they just authorized that you can use it while moving.
No,
So I
he
might,
just got a
like,
house.
rig
You
it up
got to
on the
give
boat.
him a little bit of, leeway.
How much grace?
3 months, 90
Okay.
days.
All right.
I plan to get the quad this week.
Yeah.
It's not me.
Well, tell your wife.
It's my boss.
Hey, pull your pants up.
Oh, here we go.
I'm just kidding, Brady. That was a
Here we
joke.
go. Here
Here
we
we
go.
Don't
She
kill me.
ain't watching
I was
this.
say she's not
Watch.
This would be the one time. She,
Just a one time.
100%.
100%.
I'm
until
gonna get
she opens
stabbed.
up that door and starts shooting with a Nerf gun again.
Yeah, Josh Watkins loved the fact that you guys are all drunk and you're acting like imbeciles.
You should have been here last week.
who's
when it was
y'all?
just me and Trey. And we were
I got to
slapping.
drive in the morning. You 3 are the ones that, well, you 2.
I had 2 beers.
Wow.
I know Ben's only had 2.
I mean, how
Jeez.
am I drunk? Trey's on like 32. He's been drinking since noon.
I live here.
Well, he called me at 2:30. Good for him.
When things are problems, I sleep on this table. So don't be messing with me.
Nobody.
So
We were really
Hey-
slap happy last week when it was just Trey and I.
100%. Yeah. So it is 7:47 right
Went
now.
that quick?
I want to talk about
Wow.
real quick. We
We didn't
talk-
get on till 7:20.
Oh, we
It
did.
wasn't that late.
No, it was 43 minutes.
7:01.
I've got a live.
Gosh,
Fair
I'm
enough.
taking his
Fair
keys.
enough. Fair enough.
I'm taking his keys.
All right.
By the way, if you hit a DUI checkpoint, you don't have to show your ID. Just kidding.
Just trying to get you locked up, bro.
Saginaw Bay. Let's
Trying to
talk
pull a
about that real
Tyreek Hill.
quick. Let's talk about Saginaw Bay real quick.
Sure.
So Saginaw Bay, Michigan. You went up there. You roomed with Zach Bird, Josh Hooks, and Cole Harris.
Correct.
Right. So talk about that derby real quick and what your expectations were going into that, because you guys are moving into the quote unquote, I don't really think so, but fall transition, if you will, up north.
It had already been going on there.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. Obviously not. This is my first time being there. So you learn things as you go to these new places. But the fall transition had actually probably started 2 or 3 weeks prior to our event. The temperatures were cooler. The water temperatures were starting to drop. And those fish started to move. My expectations were high. Everything I had read and some people that also fished the MPFL that I had talked to said it was going to be right up my alley. Largemouth, shallow, grass, power fishing. And it was for the most part. I just never connected with the quality that needed to do well at that event. Excuse me. I caught a bunch of fish. I mean, I probably caught in 6 days. Now, the first day of practice, I leaned on them.
Yeah, you did.
It's been a while, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to stick a few. But I know the first day of practice, I probably had 75 bites.
Wow.
And that's in a 10 square mile radius that I was practicing in that first day. The second day, I kind of toned it down, but still probably had 50 plus bites. The third day, I didn't even really, I don't want to say try hard. I did, but I just kind of wanted to sample some stuff that I didn't sample the first 2 days. And I know I had over 50 bites again. Now, when I say that, I don't know what's biting. I just know that I'm getting bites. Very possible. First day of the event, I'm super excited because I know I have an area that has got a lot of fish in it. And I probably caught close to 60 the first day, but I had like 12 and a half. I did lose a couple fish, but that's fishing. But I never lost anything that was super significant, like nothing like a 4-pounder or anything like that. And I think I was sitting like low 80s. Zach smoked them. He was sitting in the top 5. Josh caught a decent bag. He was in the top 20.
Zach smoked them or scoped them?
Both. Yeah. He had, I think he had 22 something.
He did.
Anyways, he was top 5. I know of for sure. And then Josh Hooks caught a good bag. And then Cole, he was right there with me, like 12 something. He actually might have had more than me, maybe 13. So the second day, and as a house, we share information. I was out of it. I was in the 80s, and I had talked to some of the guys, and they're like, look, man, I got a place that's got a gazillion smallmouth on it, but they're only like 2.5 pounders, 2 3/4.
Yeah.
Well, 2 3/4 puts you at 14, maybe 14.5 if you catch a 3, and all of a sudden you're back in this thing, because we all figured it would take 14 pounds a day to get paid. And after the first day, when you're that far out of it, that's what you're thinking. You're not thinking winning. You're thinking, okay, let's just salvage the tournament, get some points, maybe get a paycheck, and move on to the next one. I run 57 miles one way in 4-footers, and I've got the GoPro footage to prove it. It was brutal. It was rough. Tore some stuff up. Not on my boat, fortunately, but some other guys did in that long run. And I get all the way up there. Cole runs with me. He's about 20 minutes behind me, and I get up there and I catch a 3-pounder. And I fish for 4 hours and don't have another bite. Get to where I need to be, and I'm like, look, I can't stay, Cole. Catch them. I'm out of here. I roll all the way back down to where I had some fish and salvage my day. I catch almost 15 pounds. So I'm sitting, I don't know where I was at, 60th, 70th, something like that. And at that point in time, I just told myself, and Zach also caught another good bag. He was sitting, I think he was leading.
Yeah.
After
day 2.
Zach was leading. So I was like, look, man, I'm not going back up there. That's, I'm not going to get in your way. You got a chance to win this thing. Go do it, man. I'm just going to go do what I can do. Went out again and had, once again, another phenomenal day, 30 plus fish. I think I had 13 something. Finished the tournament, then I think 60th or 61st, something like that, which when you look at it, it's not bad, but for my standards, it's not good.
Right.
And Josh did have 2 more good days and finished in the top 15, but Zach lost by an ounce. And that, as a house, we're super rooting for him. Somebody has a chance to win, which people don't realize how hard that is to do. For sure. So that could have been an opportunity for him. So we're all rooting for him, but he lost by an ounce. He had a great event, didn't lose anything. We talked about it. He had an awesome event. So my expectations were high going into it, and I don't feel awful about it.
No,
I just never got the big bite. Most of the guys that were fishing for largemouth had a 4+ pounder every day.
Yeah,
I never got that bite. And back to with the fall transition you were talking about, and I didn't know this going in, but the later in the year it gets, later in September and all that stuff, the further into the bay the smallmouth come.
Yeah.
Right. So if that event would have been in June or July, smallmouth probably wouldn't have been a player unless you were going to make a super long run to try to sight fish from some smallmouth way up north. And those are things that you just don't know until you get there and you go through the event. But I'm not upset with my performance. It's been kind of like on par for the year. I had a really good event at Logan Martin. And then the last 3, I've just struggled to catch a big fish. Yeah. And if I get that big fish bite, I haven't been able to put it in the boat.
I think a lot of people have a misconception that because you're not in the top 20 or 40, whatever, that you had a bad tournament. It was a good tournament. You caught a lot of fish, right? 100%. And I think that's very important for a lot of people, especially in the tournament side of the house. Tournament fishing is not, we've talked about it before, is not the the center of gravity, if you will, for bass fishing. Like it's just a small percentage of it. You went out and caught a ton of fish, dude.
Yeah, that by far was so far the best event of this season.
Yeah.
I mean, in practice, it was hard to shake them off.
Yeah.
And then the tournament, every time you got a bite, it was just those bites as a bass fisherman you want. They knock slack in a line.
Yeah.
It was the hardest hit you'd ever had, or they explode on a frog like you'd never seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, that's typical for northern largemouth. And if you've been around, you know that. But for somebody who was just experiencing that, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. So yeah, and what people don't realize is that the difference between a top 20 and a top 60 is literally 2 lost fish.
That's right.
People don't understand that. Like if you look at the standings and that guy blew it out of the water or he won, but then you drop down and look at 20 to 60, there's like 16 ounces difference.
Yeah.
18 ounces difference. And people don't realize that's the margin of error is very small.
Yep.
Very small. And if you don't execute, those guys will kick your teeth in.
Yeah.
Well,
Fish clean.
I'll tell you what, we were watching, Saginaw Bay as it goes along, and you see guys like Patrick Walters show up day 1, 2 fish with 3 fish.
And that was, you want to talk about surprised?
How about that?
When the guy who took me to my truck said, don't feel, he's like, you got him. I was like, no, I got 12 pounds. He's like, Walters only had 2.
Yeah.
My mouth about hit the pavement. I said, Patrick Walters weighed 2 fish.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the only one. There were some guys that are absolute hammers struggled.
Yep.
That just goes to show you're not going to catch them every time you go out.
100%.
It was crazy to see that.
Yep.
Mike Corpsley, a good buddy of mine, finished 3rd there last year. I don't even know what he finished, but he had an awful tournament.
Yeah.
And he's a good offshore fisherman.
And he caught him though.
Yeah, he told
fish.
me, he said he caught like 60 one day.
Exactly.
They were all 2-pounders.
Yep.
Well, 2-pounders don't equate to checks. 2-pounders just equate to a fun day.
But you don't know that.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
You don't know that. And I think that's it's important for us to kind of like rewind and look at like tournament fishing as a whole. Like, do you can go out and have a phenomenal day of fishing and be in 60th and be fine? Right. Not be fine, but you had a great day of fishing.
And know that you did what you needed to do.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And so now you're sitting in what, the 40s for?
Yeah. My wife told me the other day, I'm like 40.
Your wife told you?
Yeah. She checks all that stuff. I don't want to know.
No.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Because.
But you're not out of it though.
It doesn't change anything for you.
You got St. John's and you got the Ozarks.
Correct. I think she told me I was 44th and they take the top 40. I just don't. My job is to catch fish, not worry about where I'm at in the standings. Exactly. If I don't catch them, it doesn't matter where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I don't want to put unnecessary pressure on myself already. That I put on my own self that's there. I feel like I need to prove myself. I feel like I need to represent for people who invest in me, OneCast, my friends, my family, other sponsors that I have. So I don't want to add anything else to that, so I don't care about where I'm at in the standings. I want to feel like when I go to an event, I put my time in and practice. I feel like what I'm doing is the best chance for me to do well and execute. If I don't do those 3 things, then where I'm at in the standings doesn't matter.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I just got to make sure that when somebody takes a picture of me or asks me a question, I'm doing my best to represent myself and my sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that matters.
Yep. I'm sorry I stole the show, guys.
No, that was good.
I mean, I do it all the time.
Yeah, every show. This is the trait. No,
Seth never wanted to be on Fishing Friday Live. I love it, man. No, you know what? I love talking about this stuff. I mean, there's a lot more than just catching fish that goes into any of these things, right?
100%.
Like
people
the
don't
thought process, the teamwork, right, with the house and stuff like that. And now you're following the unwritten fishing etiquette where it's like, hey dude, like you're in first, like I'm not going to go after those fish. Like there's so many different things. And it's like, dude, these are the cool stories. And there was a lot of like crazy shit that happened up at Saginaw Bay with like the water cyclones and like the bad weather came in.
Yeah, we had a tornado,
dude,
the last day of practice.
Yeah.
Me and Josh were getting off the water. Zach had sent us a text.
Frank, thanks, man.
And me and Josh ran to the ramp, and it was just absolute chaos. We didn't, and see, people don't know this, but we didn't have power for the next almost 3 days.
Yeah. Weren't you like blowing into your like extension cord trying to power your batteries?
It was awful. So we didn't have power that last night, which was Tuesday night. Didn't have power, so I didn't shower. Whatever.
Oh, that rhymed.
Yeah, I know.
You're a poet.
Woke up Wednesday, still had no
Didn't even
power.
know.
Was rigging tackle. I had some media stuff to do for the league. Got back. We got ready for dinner, and I still didn't have power. I told the guys in the house, I said, look, I got to take a shower. I grabbed 9 water bottles and took a shower because we didn't have power.
Welcome to Iraq.
Well, you're right. I shouldn't be complaining because there's people that are way off than I am, but I'm just saying, and then finally
Well, that's
we
all
leave.
stuff that throws into your like routine.
Yeah.
Correct. Like you get comfortable doing certain things. So very fortunate for us that the owner of the Airbnb we stayed at brought us a generator, so we were able to charge our
that's
batteries.
awesome.
And then we left, still didn't have power Wednesday or Thursday morning. When we got back Thursday afternoon, we had power.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And some guys didn't have power until Friday.
Yeah. I knew
Yeah.
like Hunter Bogman had to take his family to the
Yeah.
hotel, and
Yeah.
there was a lot of people trying to figure out how to charge boats and,
Yep.
and all that. So, I mean, that's part of it. There's a lot of adversity that you face when any tournament series that you fish or trail or anything, no matter what the level. Like,
It's-
there's going to be things that happen. Motors are going to shit the bed on your
Yeah.
way back
Kyle
away
Walter
in.
blew his motor that
Is
event.
Yeah.
your Toyota a hybrid? Does it have the back?
I don't have a hybrid one.
I knew they came out with one, but I didn't know if you had it.
I ain't fancy like that.
That's
No,
the
his is
capstone.
all electric.
It's a capstone.
Capstone and
Yeah, that's
limited,
the 100,000.
and the TRD Pro.
The pros are hybrid?
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because my truck's got a 7 kilowatt generator built in. Just plug that
7
thing in.
Does it really?
gigawatts.
7 kilowatts.
Oh,
7.6.
kilowatts.
7.2 kilowatts.
You have a Ford, right? F-150?
Mhm.
It's not the Lightning, though, right?
That's the only reason why I got it, would be able to charge my boat if I went camping or
Well, I
something.
didn't know that. I didn't know
But
they
I've
had a
never
built
used
in. Yeah.
You're that rusty.
Rusty coming in with rusty hotness, right? For sure. If you still had dirt in your eyelashes as soon as you got done, that's an Iraq shower. For sure, dude. Yeah, Iraq sucks, dude. I don't know what else to say about that. Live under your truck for 59 days and don't take a shower.
I got a question, and I'm not trying to go down a rabbit hole because I know you guys
Go down it.
I
Go
know you
down.
guys are wanting to
No, we're good.
end early.
No, we're good.
So, with all the regulations that have come out,
Yeah.
forward facing sonar regulations
Oh.
through all 3 different lakes. No, I just want to get your
Wow, yeah.
opinion. I'm not gonna. I don't want to.
No,
Like I
you're
said,
good.
Dude, we're tired of you pinging a minnow, bro.
Yeah, we're welcome to you. Anyway,
you-
let him ask his question, Trey.
Do you think that moving forward, you see a difference in the fishing itself?
Go ahead. The other guys.
And I ask you that because the league that I fish banned it.
Do I see a difference in the fishing?
Do you?
I have to go league by league.
That's what I'm saying. But
So-
as a whole, do you feel like the industry changes back to what it was?
No,
Okay.
it's never going to change back to it. You're still going to have, because I can go out and scan with 2D and still catch them with a minnow, right? If I know there's a school fish, I can't target individual fish, but that technique's not going to go away now. Like I can still mid stroll without forward facing sonar if I have a school fish. So I think some of those techniques aren't going to go away. They're not going to be as prevalent. It's absolutely nothing's going to change in the elites. Absolutely nothing, because they still have one
Right.
at the front. They
Right.
can still go out and do their thing.
I mean, people have been throwing-
BPT, the whole thing is going to change in the BPT because you only have one period, right? So that period, they're going to go out and they're going to ping their minnow, they're going to catch a bunch of fish, and then they're going to probably go look for big fish. So you're going to see a variety of techniques.
That will be the most interesting to watch.
The NPFL, yeah, you're going to get
Strategy
more
wise.
of the old school guys are going to start going back to the bank that fish the bank. They're not going to be trying to do things they're not comfortable doing.
Right.
Because everybody was trying to.
Sure.
I mean, you did it.
100%.
You're not super comfortable with it. We saw everybody had to try to do it to keep up with the Joneses. So you're going to see, again, a variety of techniques come to play. You're going to have guys like if Mike Corbishley's able to still fish it, that can fish offshore. They're still going to look for those offshore fish because that's what they like to do, right? Like that's what I'm comfortable doing.
So because like guys have been doing jig head minnows for decades. I mean, people have been throwing over brush piles and all. It's just a lot less efficient without looking for it.
Right.
And so used to now like guys offshore, it seems like a lot of the pros, especially later in the year, it's almost 100% jig head minnow for like those offshore targeting fish around that type of stuff. Whereas I think the guys who fish offshore are probably, and the secret's out. Like we know the fish are out there now.
Yeah.
So they may end up going to different techniques that just kind of cover it better. So you might start seeing guys like offshore in the NPFL running crankbaits through brush piles and stuff offshore and stuff again.
Yeah.
way more than just a jig head minnow.
Yeah.
Because you're getting more reaction strike out of it. I would think. That's just my speculation. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. And it will be interesting to see how many of the guys, now that the secret's out and we know the fish are out there, how many are still going to try to do it, but with the old school technology?
Yeah.
That's a good question. 'Cause, I mean, I think there are a group of anglers, and I say that through all leagues, that are comfortable doing that they're good at. Right. So they're going to try to do it no matter what, just like I'm going to try to find shallow fish, or somebody else is going to try to find mid-depth fish, whatever they're good at. They're going to try to do it no matter the circumstances.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how, efficient they can be with it now because that technology is
I think a great example is like, look at Lake Fork a couple years ago with the MLF. And it was when the water was low, it was early in the year. And the guys were just going around scoping. They weren't in very deep of water, throwing either jerk baits or square bills.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't cast until they saw something. Whereas now, I mean, the old school ways, you go in there and practice, you kind of figure out where the fish are at depth-wise location, and then you just kind of have to cast blind.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question. I don't know if it's going to change the way.
Just real quick, Rusty said he doesn't see any difference at all. The cat's never going to be back in the bag. You're absolutely right on that.
Yeah.
Frank said, I still don't have it. I beat people with it and they beat me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Frank says he has it. I'm not great with it. I use it mainly to ID fishing structure. Can't jig head minnow. I don't have the patience to sit in one spot and learn it. Fair enough. And then he said, if the MPFL got the same money from Garmin that Bass does, would it be banned? I love that they banned it, by the way. Make a change and see what happens. Yeah, that's a question you would have to ask Brad and Paul, and I don't know
Kathy
if
and Mike and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it would come down to contracts, and then you're starting to get into legal.
Here's the thing, though.
too,
There's some
like-
people out there that don't have a price.
Yeah,
To me, Mike, Brad, Kathy, Paul, Al, I don't think they have a price. And I think that's what sets them apart. I think that's why the league is so successful and is gaining steam.
yeah.
It's because they don't have a price. They're
Yep.
doing what's best for them and what they think is best for the industry. And I
And the
have my hats off to them. Whether I get to go back next year or not, I applaud their decision to stand alone on this deal.
Mhm.
But like, I can't sit here and say that a amount of money is going to dictate their decision.
Yeah.
And it may. I could be completely off base here, and it may. But I just don't see Brad and those folks being that way.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think kudos to capitalism and what drives like business decisions. I think there's a lot of morals that stand behind the MPFL's decision that like a lot of people maybe not understand or respect, but whatever the case, like they made a business decision. But since they banned it, though, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
You were all about it, or you supported the business decision? Whether or not they would have kept it or not kept it, you would have fished it if you had the opportunity.
Sure.
But now you potentially going to have more people fishing the same fish that you're fishing for.
It's all right.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, because here's the thing. I don't think there was a distinct difference when there was, because people don't realize you have guys that are really good with it open water.
Yeah.
You have guys that are really good with it shallow.
Yeah.
It's something called perspective mount.
Yeah.
And they just learn to use it up shallow.
Yep.
I think, I don't remember who it was, but somebody said that this day and age, there's just not that many fish up on the bank anymore.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember who it was. And
I would say they're crazy.
I think it's geographic.
I can agree to disagree, right? I agree with you more so than anything. I think it's where you're at in the country,
Yeah.
like up north,
Time and place.
millions of fish on the bank.
Yeah.
In the south, and a super clear water fishery with not a lot of structure, I would say there's probably not a lot of fish on the bank.
Yeah.
There's some, but is it really going to put more people fishing the bank?
Yeah.
Is it? Because you're still going to have your people that like the offshore crank.
Sure.
You're still going to have people that like to drag a Carolina rig.
Yeah.
Bait.
You're still going to people that want to, jerk bait, or here's the new thing that everybody was talking about, 360,
Yeah.
right? So the Hummingbird's 360 allows you to see a still picture,
Yeah.
not a live picture, but a still picture of what's out there. So some guys may try to utilize that and not forward facing anymore. So I don't necessarily it's going to put more people up on the bank fishing for the same people, or fishing for the same fish that I fish for, but those same people are going to figure out a way to use technology.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what you have to look at.
Make 360 great again.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. Like, do it. You know, I mean, like, you guys were using 2D sonar, like mounting it in a different way on your trolling motors in Pennsylvania on Lake Erie.
Yeah,
right?
Forward facing fish.
Yeah, you were forward facing fish with a lag.
That's news
You
to
know?
me.
Yeah.
And actually, it's not that much of a lag. If you
It's
turn
not
your,
that much.
if you turn your scroll speed way up,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the guys with the vertical video game fish.
Somebody figured it out once the cat got
Listen,
out of the bag.
dude.
Everybody was. I mean, you could watch and you saw the elite guys finally bring it out, but you could watch your drop shot drop down to this fish, and you could see
For
you could see exactly what was going on. Now there was a little bit of lag between it, but you could see it fall down.
You guys
And I know dudes that were turning them like a forward
Yeah.
facing and looking under docks.
Yeah. So you're not criminals, but for every law created, there's a criminal that wants to figure out how to get past it.
For
right?
sure. The rules the rules are made for people.
To break. No.
Well, not
just
necessarily
bang.
to break.
Kidding.
To
But
ban.
rules are made for people who follow the rules, right?
Yeah.
But there's always a person that looks at the rules and says, "What says this?"
Yeah.
But it doesn't say I can't do that.
Yeah.
And that when you fish at this level, there's some guys out there that look at
100%.
exactly that and say, "Wait a minute."
If I ain't cheating, I ain't trying.
Well,
Not saying that.
yeah,
But there's loopholes created for a reason. Right.
yeah. I think everybody interprets things differently, and best of luck to them.
Yeah. You're
That's all I
still going to
can say.
throw a plopper whopper at them.
I will at certain times of the year, yes, sir. I promise you.
As long as your trolling motor doesn't have to go through a software update.
Don't- 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Oh man,
That's what you're-
yeah,
that's
the
what you're
gray
trying to cheat on
area.
me.
Frank Duffy, you know what? The gray area exists for a reason, man. Like people operate in it. If it's not in black and white, you can't fault somebody for trying to go through the loopholes of the system. I always say that about everything. How many times have we tried to evade taxes for some bull crap like law that exists? And if it's not illegal, hey man, like go for it. You know what I mean? I'm not giving you legal advice, by the way. I'm not a lawyer, but nevertheless, like you guys are going to do what you need to do in order to gain a competitive advantage over all the others in the field. And I commend that, right? That's no different than a private business making a decision. If Ben, you want to stop making hematoma Nighthawks tomorrow, Seth's going to be mad. But at the end of the day, it's going to be your decision,
I
right?
can promise you he's not going to stop making
He's
those.
not going to stop making them for you, Seth Stickles. So, and that's the reason.
No, I mean,
So yeah, man, this is a great conversation. I'm having a good time. I wonder if Pablo's still out there looking at my HVAC.
You're like, yeah, just go take care of it.
Legitimately, my buddy's here looking at my AC system right now. So I don't know if he's still here. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah,
I got a question.
Yeah.
So, I'm not trying to drag this thing on, but
No.
what are you guys looking forward to next year? Obviously, you qualified for the national championship for the Fishers of Men. Other than that, what are you looking forward to?
Oh man, I don't know. I haven't really looked ahead too much yet. Like there's still, I've just been looking at deer season and fishing the fall bite, but probably just going back to the Fishers of Men and seeing if we can repeat, the success we had. Obviously, I'd like to win one of those plaques. We were close several times this year. One bite away, and to actually, we did talk about it. We know what I'm looking forward to the most is actually not that we didn't face adversity this year, but how, for lack of a better term, Trey and I react to fire when we face it, because we never lost a keeper fish in a tournament last year. We fished 100% clean the entire Fishers and
You
Men
should have
season.
played the lottery too.
So
Mhm.
like Trey, we had
Can't
this
win if you don't
conversation.
play.
Like we had this conversation. I was like, I really want to see how you and I together react when we lose a key fish, when something like that, because we didn't do it.
Right.
I have no idea how how either of us will react emotionally. I mean, I'll probably throw a rod and cuss because that's what I do typically when I lose a big fish. But
I might have to-
it's those things, it's those challenges we didn't face this year, and that's really it probably seems odd to people, but that's sort of why it's not necessarily the competition in fishing that I enjoy. It's that adversity and the challenge of going out and not only competing against other people, but competing against Mother Nature and every other factor. And I'm going to let Trey and Ben in a second, but I do want to go back to one thing you said about not worrying about more people fishing the bank. if you fish in this area, you're not worried about other people fishing the bank because
fishing it.
you're not fishing anywhere in this area of North Carolina where you're not fishing behind somebody. So if for us, it's a little bit, more normal. Yeah, we went our entire tournament season without losing a fish. So
yeah, actually, we got lucky a lot of times.
Oh, super lucky.
Bugs Island was a lucky flip. Gaston was a lucky phone call from our buddies.
And
no kidding, like
cluster.
I give them
an absolute
absolute
Who
disaster.
says a lucky phone call? For
No,
that?
for real.
they called us and they were like, "What you got?" And we were like,
Yeah.
"We got 4 and we cannot
Yeah.
the 5th fish." And they were like, "Come here and do this."
For me, the relationships that we developed with Seth and other guys and just the networks of people. My biggest thing for next year is just learning more. I haven't been in this game a long time. I started, I guess, maybe 2015 with a Warriors on the Water tournament, which it got me into this. I'm just looking forward to learning more. Like every single time, whether or not it's you rolling up at said lake with your shirt off and, saying, "Hey man, like pay
I'm still
attention
mad
to
I
these
didn't get a picture of
conditions."
that.
When did I roll up to said lake with my shirt off?
During said practice for said fifth or sixth tournament of the year.
Oh, I immediately got a message.
100%, dude. What are you talking about?
Seth just rolled up to you with no shirt on.
Yeah, I mean, you had your
And I was like, pictures or didn't
I
have.
didn't know there was a dress code.
No,
in
there's
practice.
no-
There's
Okay.
not. There's
All right,
not.
all right.
You're
He just wanted to point out he saw you.
your
without a
belly
shirt on.
button was tucked in nice to your shorts. No one's gotten laid in cargo shorts since Nam, by the way. But but for real, like learning, man. Like I'm all about the education. Like I don't know everything. I never can. I never will know everything. I still use copoly line. I don't use fluorocarbon. Like I still use.
Really?
Yeah, man. I don't use it. Right. Like it's just A, it's cheaper, and B, like it's just something I'm comfortable with, And so I'm always looking for guys and gals on here that are talking about certain things that they do, front runners, like all sorts of stuff like that. Looking forward to the national championship. I think there's going to be a lot of adversity this year.
I'm super excited for that.
I think that, repeating an AOY championship for 2025 is absolutely like possible. But I also think that now it's absolutely not possible at the same time. Like, it's like you could get your brakes beat in by people that just have a better year than you. And I'm looking forward to kind of like what Pete said. Like, I know how I react in situations, but to me, catching fish is not stressful. It's not stressful because of this. I don't make a living doing it, right? Like you do. And so there's a level of freedom in free fishing that I have that I truly I'm not overly concerned about. Right. And maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad. I don't know. I love the competitive edge that we have in the Fishers Men. I think it's stacked with really good anglers, guys like you, guys like Corbusley, guys like Jesse, some of the other ones that I don't know their names, but I wish I did. Like,
Lobos,
those guys, I mean, they're freaking hammers, dude. And like, it's hard to beat people. We didn't win. I haven't won a tournament since 2019. Right. And I won my very first tournament in my very first bass club ever. At the very first tournament in my boat. And it was awesome. I don't know if I'll ever do that again. I don't know if I'll ever win again, dude.
You guys will win again. It just
But I don't care though. Like, I don't make a living doing it. And it'd be a different story. There's a different amount of pressure that's on you and your family with fishing than it is on me and my family and these guys right here. And so I can't empathize with the shit that you go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's vice versa for you as well.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's dude, the fishing community is full of like positive stuff that happens all the time. And I think what I'm looking forward to is two things. Like I said, learning and spreading like positive message about like just fishing in general to everybody. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Good. I'm looking forward, to be honest with you, depending on how this year goes and what my schedule for next year ends up being. But if, I'm fortunate enough to fish locally, is sharing a house with you and Nick and Mikey, whoever, and the local, and just enjoying my time.
Yeah.
Because what people don't realize is that when you do get the opportunity to fish nationally, your time at home is cut short. So you don't get to fish as much.
Yep.
So I relish it now, to get to spend time with these guys, whether it's here or on the water. I look forward to it. It's a stress reliever for me.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that Fishers and Men schedule that
Yep.
comes out next year, to where we say, hey, let's go to Bugs.
Yep.
We're going to spend 3 days together.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut your break.
Hey, and whether you kick my teeth in or whatever, I'm going to enjoy my time.
That was so cool. Like that's when I first met you. I had no idea who you were.
I met you at Raleigh briefly.
Fishers and Men, like Bugs Island tournament, man. Like it was a cool
We stood there and
deal.
talked.
Yeah.
Because you guys were like, man, we caught like 47.
And I was
They
like-
just kept coming down the bank. Great bladed spinnerbait. We just kept catching them. I'm like, dude, I got like 8 bites all day.
You're like, you got him on a spinnerbait? No, you didn't. I'm like, we matched them.
Yeah.
He goes, you wouldn't have won if we lost that fish.
Yeah.
And I'm
Hey.
like, who is this guy that's 8'6" tall? Like, who is this?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
8'17".
Yeah. No,
And then it just snowballed from there.
yeah, dude.
What are you looking forward to, Ben? Actually fishing more?
Yeah. So the big
Stop
thing
ordering Nighthawks, but don't.
oh no, I've got plenty.
Oh
right now.
no. He said, oh no.
No. So I actually just got my designs completed to automate some of my casting process. So what that means, I've got to get that built sometime over the next several months and next year. But ultimately, what that means is, one, I can more quickly introduce new products or even more variations of the products already out there. So, because I get hit up a lot. I wish you made a 1/4 ounce swim jig,
Right.
or on the
Shaky heads.
shaky heads is another
That
one.
one is constant.
The long neck hooks. Some of them actually want. I've got several comments and messages about. I wish it was like weighted with an 1/8 ounce. So like there's little things like that, and other products would be a lot easier to prototype and bring out once that machine's worked out. But 2, hopefully it will save me a lot of time, so I can get out on the water,
Sure.
do a lot more fishing. And because I used to make a lot of fishing content.
Yep, you did.
I used to do quite a bit of YouTube videos.
That's why I
and-
first.
Oh,
found
yeah.
you with your
Yeah.
YouTube videos. Yep.
Exactly. And we ended up linking up because then I think you found the old school jigs from there, and we met up in the Lowe's parking lot up in Sanford.
Yeah.
And so I like to be able to get out and hopefully that will free up some time so I can get out in the water actually fishing, and then do more content. Because now the few times I've gotten out, I haven't taken any cameras or anything really with me because I just
Wanted to connect with the water, man.
I had the time to be able to get out there that I didn't, because I do get frustrated. It is stressful when you're going out and you want to make content.
Yeah.
And even though like OneCast has got a variety of different products, you don't always catch them on that. It's
Sure.
you have to let the fish tell you. And so, when you're going out there to make content, then it becomes a job, and it's not
Yep.
as relaxing as
That's right.
just
Yeah.
going out and fishing. So that's hopefully that stuff will come to fruition, and we'll
Heck
just
yeah.
have to see.
2025 is going to be a great year, no matter the circumstances for all of us. I'm looking forward to it. I know these guys are too, man. Like,
Rusty, yes, the fisherman schedule is out.
yeah, Rusty, don't be fishing that, dude.
Frank,
No, I'm just kidding.
you want to get better with a jig?
Put it
Anywhere
in,
you
yeah.
would fish a Texas rig, just fish a jig.
Just put it in your hand.
Yeah.
Look, don't be afraid to go a day or 2 or 3 or 4 outings without getting a bite.
Yep.
That's the time you have to put in order to get better at something.
Let's put that one
Yeah.
rod on your front deck.
Right.
Put it in your hand.
Frank, what I always tell people, like this time of year in the fall and the spring when the fish are more shallow, just go down a bank with a Texas rig trick worm,
Yep.
and you get to a stretch where you catch a couple bites, go back through with the jig, and don't expect to get as many bites. But when you do catch one, it's just probably going to be a better fish.
Yep. And then that's why I love tournament fishing, because I don't depend on it for the dollars. Yep. So you agreed with Trey there. Where is he going?
Pablo's out there.
Oh, he is still here?
Yeah.
Hey,
He just-
Pablo.
he must have got
Yeah,
rid
we
of
just
it.
kind of left Pablo out there to do the HVAC.
Yeah.
But folks, we've been going for almost an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I think we're going to wrap it up on there. We're looking forward to 2025 season. Anybody you want to shout out real quick, Seth?
Yeah. My wife. I want to thank my family and my friends. OneCast Fishing. You guys for allowing me to be on here several times this year, and just looking forward to this next event.
Oh, awesome.
Sweet.
Anything, Ben?
Nope.
I'm going to speak for Trey and say he didn't have anything else, even though I'm sure he did, because he always does. And appreciate everybody. Appreciate the support. We love y'all. Make sure you check out those partners. help us continue to grow a culture of anglers helping anglers one cast at a time.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Yeah. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.